It looked like somebody was bent over and had their head in the window of the deer blind. It either heard me or smelt me, and he pulled his head out of the tent and stood straight up, and that shocked me. They don't make people that big.
The way it moved, almost as if it was gliding across the beach. I've never seen anything move like that in my life. They were screaming at each other in gibberish. It sounded like a language, and they were chuntering away back and forwards, back and forwards, back and forwards. I know what a bear looks like, and there is no way on this planet that what I saw were bears.
What are you reporting?
Jesus Christ, you better... Sheriff? Zia!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
Hi, this is Drew Pliska, and you're listening to Sasquatch Chronicles.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Got a great show planned for you. We're going to be chatting with Mike, and Mike had a very strange encounter in Georgia. And you know, sometimes people get upset when I do shows like this, but I think it's important to kind of hear everyone out regarding what they saw. You know, and if it's Sasquatch related, no one really knows. It may or may not be, but there's no harm in hearing people out. I know some people were upset about when I had Damien on the show. Very few people, actually, but you know, they say, well, you know, this is a Bigfoot show, we need to talk about the great apes. And it's, you know, if you're searching for answers, you got to hear everyone out, and you got to listen to experiences. And you know, you may find yourself in the same position one day where you're seeing something that's extraordinary, and it doesn't seem like it's Sasquatch related, but as I always say, you can run into more than just Sasquatch out in the woods. If you've had an encounter and you'd like to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. I hope everyone stays safe this next week, and for the next couple months, I hope things calm down and everyone stays safe. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. Let's jump into it tonight. I want to welcome Mike to the show. Mike, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, Wes.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here. And, you know, I've had more and more people come forward and see what you saw. You and I were talking the other day, and I was telling you about the cop that saw that predator type creature, you know, and he didn't know what to make of it. And I don't know what to make of it. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it, but I've talked to many people that have seen it, you know, including military, law enforcement, and it's bizarre. I know what happened to you was back in 1999 in Georgia, correct?
Yeah, that was about the time frame.
Okay. Well, if you would, I'll let you kind of take it away. Kind of tell us what you were doing and, you know, walk us into what happened.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like it's important for me to start all of this off. Like, the reason why I contacted you is because, you know, what happened to me 20 years ago, the situation that happened over time of hearing these different stories from people about orbs and eventually rods and stuff like that became, it finally let me know that, hey, you know, other people have seen this kind of stuff too. And I originally wanted to contact you, be like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, these people are legit. I mean, this happened to me. But I guess to start the story off is, yeah, it was about back in 1999. It was about 20 or 30 miles south of Atlanta. And believe it or not, you really don't have to go that far from Atlanta to be out in the woods. That's just how Georgia rolls. But we were young kids back then. I was about 19 years old, and I was dating a girl who was still in high school at the time. I just got out of high school, and her parents were pretty strict. So I couldn't be around the house. Lived in a small town. She really didn't have anything going on in the town to do. So it was late at night. We were trying to find a place to hang out, and I didn't really know the area that much, so we just took a drive in the car, and we were cruising around and found a spot off the, it was a road that was off the beaten path, so to speak, and it was basically, to paint the picture for you, it was a road that looked like someone was getting ready to build a subdivision or put housing there, but it looked like it just never happened. So on the left-hand side of the road, it was heavy woods. On the right-hand side of the road, it was a field. And about 100 yards, I'd actually say about 50, 60 yards out from the field was a barbed wire fence with heavy woods on that. And you could tell, it looked like they clear cut that to put houses there, but this road was basically just a single road with a cul-de-sac. So when we came to the cul-de-sac, we parked the car and we were hanging out and doing a thing, teenagers do. And so we were sitting outside the car, hanging out, having a good time, and there was no lights in the area. It was a pretty rural area, and the moon was out. I remember that we could see pretty good. I mean, your eyes get adjusted to being out in the woods at night, and we could see everything pretty clear. But we were facing towards the field, so to speak, and the grass was probably, I don't know, about 3.5 feet high, and it was just kind of a dead grass. So anyways, we're sitting there hanging out and having a good time, and all of a sudden I just got this really, really creepy feeling kind of come over me, and I just kind of stopped dead in my tracks, and I had a feeling to look into a certain direction. Like my eyes were just automatically drawn to a certain section in this field, and to my amazement, I could see something that was out there. And it wasn't really anything that shocked me. I could just see something kind of moving through the grass. It was something I couldn't really make out exactly what it was, but you could see a shape. And honestly, I thought it may have been a deer or something like that. It's Georgia, it's that kind of thing is very common. But it was a very creepy, bizarre kind of feeling, and kind of hard to really explain. But so I watched it just kind of fade out of sight, and we were just like, the girl that I was with, she was like, what was that? I was like, I don't know. It was probably a deer or an animal. So we went back to, hanging out, and we're sitting on the hood of my car, and we were talking, everything went back to normal. And all of a sudden I kind of got that weird, creepy feeling again. And I looked back out in the field, and I could see something coming from the direction that I saw it leave. And there was something moving through the field again. And this time it had my attention, and it was a very bizarre feeling. And it's a feeling like I've never really felt before in my life. It's almost like if you've ever been standing somewhere and you can tell someone's watching you, and you automatically turn around and look. Like, I remember one time I was a really good distance away back in my house in Texas, and I had a feeling someone was watching me, and I turned around and I could see my grandmother looking at me from 100 yards away. And it was weird, how I could sense that. But that's my point, is it was that feeling like you could sense where something was, and you knew exactly where it was. So when we turned to look at it, we saw this. We could see it a little bit more clearer this time, and it's still hard to make out. You couldn't.